I the asshole for walking out of my sister's wedding after finding out why my son was excluded?
Why would you exclude the son in the wedding? I mean, unless the son did something stupid as hell.
My sister, 30 female, got married yesterday. I, 32 male, was so happy for her and agreed to help her out. She told me that the wedding was child-free, which I understand, so I asked my best friend if there was any way he could watch my son, and he agreed. I arrived at the wedding and found that it was not child-free. There were probably 15 children there. I was confused but didn't want to make a scene, so I waited until my sister came over to me and I asked her what the deal was. What she told me broke my heart, and I don't know how I can look at her the same way again. She confessed that my son, 12 male, was excluded because he has an amputated leg.
Oh my God.
Yeah. She said that it would draw attention to him at the wedding.
Oh.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Fuck you.
I almost lost it. I could understand if he was going to be disruptive or something, but because of that, I didn't trust myself in that moment, so I just walked out and went home. When I got home, my son asked me why I was back so early, so I made up some excuse and then spent the rest of the day having fun with him because it was the only thing keeping me sane. Since then, I've been getting dozens of messages from people saying how my leaving caused my sister to start crying and the whole wedding was ruined. But I honestly don't care right now. I'm a mess. I'm a single dad, so I don't have someone to help me right now. But these messages are actually making me wonder, am I the asshole?
No.
I don't know. I feel like most people would just not give a shit at all.
Exactly.
Nobody would be like, look at him and like take attention from you. That's a crazy excuse.
It's disgusting. I hope your wedding was ruined, to be honest, because you are a horrible person. Am I the asshole for asking my friend to pay for water damages in my kitchen, even though my son's pranked her?
Yeah, your sons are probably the reason why there was water damage to begin with. What does your friend have to do with it?
My lifelong friend, Carla, is in the middle of blowing up our friendship because I asked her to pay for water damages in my kitchen.
You're blowing up the friendship.
Carla has been staying with me for a few weeks to visit and also meet with some potential new clients for her new business. I live alone with my two sons who are 13 and 18. There's more than enough room for Carla to come and stay, and she's even happy to pitch in for bills and food as her stay doesn't have an official end date and she doesn't want to feel like she's freeloading.
So she's being like a great guest?
The best kind of guest.
Yeah, what the fuck?
And then your son still prank her ass? Ooh, why?
Overall, it was going really smooth until my boys started pulling stupid pranks on her. They dumped cold water on her while she was showering once, hid her suitcase, and they played her ringtone on their phone so she thinks she's getting a call.
Your children should not be in the bathroom while she's
showering.
So weird.
At first, I thought it was just the 13-year-old, and I sat him down and explained how inappropriate it was to be pranking a fully grown woman, and that I expect he'd be giving her a big apology, to which I found out that although my 13-year-old was the one doing all the stuff, his brother was the one cooking up the ideas. I essentially went ballistic on both of them, and everything settled down until a few days ago when I came home to a flooded kitchen. Apparently, early that morning, Car had gotten ready to go to a meeting with a client and went into the kitchen to grab a glass of water. When she turned the tap on, the spray nozzle started soaking her, and she screamed, stormed off, and out the door without turning the tap off, causing water to spray everywhere and flood my kitchen. The reason this happened is because the night before, one of my boys taped down the trigger so that the next person would get blasted with water, but they didn't expect the mess to be as big as it was. Now my kitchen baseboards are waterlogged and the carpet in my living room is soaked. I asked Carla to please pay for the baseboards being fixed, as this could have been prevented had she just turned off the taps.
It could have been prevented
if your dumbass
had your sons not done the taping the trigger in the first place.
She then lost her mind on me and told me that she deserved more respect than to be harassed by my sons constantly. She said that she was trying her hardest to be a polite guest, but that me and my sons have been downright terrible hosts. She then told me that she will be leaving and carrying out the rest of her stay in a hotel, and that she will not be paying for any of the damages caused by, quote, your developmentally delayed sons. I was furious and told her to leave and that I would send her the invoice for the fix. She told me to lose her number, packed, and left. Now that the dust has settled, I'm starting to wonder if I was the asshole and should apologize, but I still don't understand why she didn't turn the tap off and let me know my sons were still behaving poorly. So am I the asshole?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, she had it up to here already. Yeah. I don't blame her. She's been like distressed, attacked this whole stay. Of course, someone's gonna reach their limit and be like, okay, I'm out of this place.
Your one son is 18, old enough to hold a job. Make him pay for the shit because he's the one causing the shit. It's just so up to be like, no, the one who's getting tortured in our house should be the one paying the money. Take some responsibility for your kids.
My wife's obsession with plastic surgery has made me lose attraction.
Interesting.
I've been married to my wife for 6 years now. When we got married, she said she wanted to do minor cosmetic procedures on her face to help with her insecurities. She had been insecure her whole life, so I was as supportive as I could have been. She got lip filler and Botox on her face, and after a few months, she got more lip filler and her lips looked scary to me, but she was very happy with them, so I didn't say anything. Next, she wanted to get her boobs done. Again, she was happy with how they turned out, but I thought they looked weird. They were so big and stiff, and my wife is a petite and skinny woman, so it just didn't look proportional to the rest of her body. But again, it made her so happy, so I was fine with it. Last year, she said she was going to get a BBL. This time, I actually told her I wasn't going to support her on this one because it's a dangerous procedure. There was a story on the internet that went viral a month or so prior about a woman who died during her BBL procedure, and I was scared. I asked her if she could see a therapist or a psychiatrist about her body dysmorphia before doing this, but she refused and said it hadn't helped when she tried it before. She said she was doing it with her own money anyway, so I didn't have a say in it. I shut up and took care of her after the procedure. I was so glad she was safe and the procedure went well, but in all honesty, it was horribly done. The doctor made her hips so wide, her thighs and waist were really small, so again, it just didn't look proportional. Now the problem is I generally don't find her physically attractive anymore, and I don't know what to do about it. I want nothing more than to be badly attracted to her as I was years ago, but everything she has done to her body makes her look slightly terrifying to me. I love her and I don't think that will change, but I hate having sex with her now. I don't enjoy it, but her sex drive has increased since the BBL. Meanwhile, mine has basically tanked. I thought of talking to her, but I'm not sure what good that will do besides make her feel bad. There's nothing that can be done now anyway. She's confident and happy in her body for the first time in her life, and I don't want to ruin it. So I obviously won't ever say anything to her about this. I love every other aspect of our relationship, so that's just going to have to be enough. I obviously can't say this to anyone in real life, so here I am, just wanted to get this out.
It's tough because it is her body. She should be able to do whatever she wants with it. But I don't know. I feel like when you're married, if somebody's like, hey, I'm worried about your safety, maybe don't. And then you're like, I'm going to do it because it's my money. That seems bad, I think.
I think it is.
My advice would be to just come clean or just be like, hey, been feeling like a type of way since everything has happened. I think couples therapy might be the way. And then in couples therapy, you could do it.
I think the only thing I would say is if she shuts that plan down, that's when it's like, okay, well, you got to look out for yourself as well, man.
Yeah.
Am I a jerk for backing out of being a bridesmaid?
Weddings are very expensive.
I've been friends with the bride since 4th grade. We're both now 30. She's engaged and has asked me to be her bridesmaid. And I said, hell yeah. My partner, however, died earlier this year. And on the night that it happened, I made a post on my IG about it. She sent me a message asking me about what happened. And I simply said, Blake passed away. And that was it. She read it, did not respond or call. So that was really hurtful.
Fucking terrible.
2 months later, her wedding invite arrives and it is addressed to me and Blake. Yeah. This was obviously incredibly triggering to me. Please keep in mind she had not spoken to me since the night he had passed. I immediately call her to remind her exactly why Blake can't attend and that I will no longer be able to be her bridesmaid nor attend. She was upset with my reaction and said that with all the wedding planning, it slipped her mind.
That's not an excuse. No.
This is one of your best friends. How does that slip your mind?
Now, some of our friends agree with me. Some say my grief has made me overly sensitive and I should accept her mistake. The wedding party and our mutual friends are split on this. I'm not backing down on this though, and she thinks I'm the jerk here because I should understand how stressful planning a wedding is and that she's being scatterbrained. I think it's fucked up that someone I thought was my best friend for 21 years would not only not check on me during my mourning period, but also not apologize for sending me an invite addressed to both of us. So am I the asshole?
No. Wedding planning is very stressful, but that is not an excuse to not be a friend to somebody. Granted, could have slipped out of your mind. Fine, I'll give you that. But to be upset at your friend and to not reach out and do what friends are supposed to do, that is completely fucked up. Having a baby has destroyed our marriage. I'm contemplating leaving. Does it get better?
Well, none of us have kids, so we can't say whether it gets better.
My wife and I had our first daughter last year. She's getting close to 2 now, and she has destroyed our marriage. I wasn't big into having kids, but my wife did, so I gave in. I thought I might grow into the father role, but I didn't. I hate being a dad. I dread having to come home and take care of her. I wouldn't really say I feel any sense of warmth when I hold her. I just feel dread. I really hate the baby and fatherhood in general. I barely get any sleep, and my wife devotes every single hour to her. We barely do anything anymore that doesn't involve taking care of the kid. She's obsessed with the kid. All she talks about is the baby 24/7. I'm seriously thinking of leaving. My mental health has nosedived over the past 2 years, and I don't think I can take all the responsibility. Has anybody been in a similar situation? Does it get better as the kid gets older?
If you didn't want the kid, why go through it? You should probably be pretty sure you want a kid if you're going to try for one. You should have been very clear to be like, hey, this isn't what I want. If this is what you want, I don't think this is going to work. That's where step one should have been. Now it's like you have to stick around. You're the father. You're going to have to take care of this child. You can't just abandon them. Work with your wife, work with your family, get a babysitter to take them for the night or something like that so that you can have your own time to rejuvenate, regenerate. Talk about it with a professional who can help you work out some of your shit. And a lot of that will improve. Am I the asshole for getting upset that my wife told me a trashy college story?
If it's in the past, it's in the past. You gotta let it go.
Yesterday, I was hanging out with my wife and friends, joking around and telling stories. My wife's friend Sarah asked me, has your wife ever told you about how she made two guys have a UFC match?
That's trashy? That's what you're mad about, brother? That's awesome.
My wife is like, oh my God, shut up. And they go back and forth until I say, I want to hear the story. My wife says it's so dumb and I'm going to hate it, but I'm too curious at this point, so I insist. She sighs and says she will. My wife says, basically, I was at this college party and these two guys were hitting on me hard and like they were kind of getting competitive and a little aggressive towards each other. So I told them if they fought each other one-on-one, I would go home with the winner.
Hey.
Her friends are dying laughing and Sarah's dumbass is saying, don't forget how you told them how you made them fight in underwear. What the I was shocked. I asked my wife if she actually went through with this, and she's like, you mean did I sleep with the winner? Yeah, to be honest.
Hey, respect.
I am stunned, so she reminds me I begged her to hear it. Later on that night, when it's just the two of us, I tell her how disappointed I am. That was a gross story, and she shouldn't be laughing about it or telling anybody. She reminded me that I wanted to hear it, but I thought it would be a normal, crazy college story, not whatever the this was.
A normal, crazy college story.
We argued about it for half an hour, but she refused to apologize. So I decided to sleep in the guest room. The story was trashy. I thought I deserved an apology for having to hear it. This shouldn't be joked about. Am I the asshole or is my wife?
You are.
You are.
You insecure a little bit. She wasn't with you.
I would immediately be like, we got to get in fight promotions. We got to make money off this. I really want to.
Am I the asshole for calling my 8-year-old niece ugly?
No person in their right mind would call an 8-year-old physically ugly. I'm wondering if the ugliness has to do with their behavior.
My 20 male, older sister, 32 female, and her husband have an 8-year-old niece who I adore. She's smart, extremely precious, and very funny. She's also, simply put, very unfortunate looking.
Jesus Christ! You hope for the best sometimes.
Either her parents are ugly, but she received the worst possible combinations of the features. Maybe in time she'll grow into it, but she is, as I said, unfortunate looking. My sister and her husband try to circumvent this by constantly calling her pretty, beautiful, gorgeous, etc. I get that every parent is going to see their kid that way, but I don't think it's a good idea to constantly praise her for her beauty. Why? Kids are cruel and they'll let her know she's not beautiful. So all praising does is reinforce that beauty is something to be desired and praised for, all while knowing she doesn't have it.
Oh, so this guy thinks he's doing her a favor. This is what it is.
Wait a second, you're ugly as an 8-year-old. You might want to fix
And
that.
that's okay, sweetie. Being ugly is fine.
It's fine.
And you're it. You're definitely it.
It's much better, in my opinion, to boost her self-esteem off the many good traits she does have, so she doesn't have to rely on her looks for confidence. My sister and her husband don't seem to understand this or disagree with it, which is fair. It's their call as a parent, but they insist that I call her beautiful too, and I said no and explained why. I do praise her a lot for her intelligence, her sense of humor, etc. They say that she is beautiful and I need to call her beautiful so she knows it. So I said bluntly that no, if we're being honest, she's ugly and kids will let her know she's ugly. So bringing up beauty will only make her see it as something worthy of praise she doesn't have.
Yo, the intrusive thoughts is strong.
My sister started screaming at me for calling her daughter ugly. I know it can be a sensitive topic, but she's a grown adult and I think she should be able to handle honesty on the subject. She thinks I'm a huge asshole, but I'm just trying to be realistic and do what I think is best for my niece. Am I the asshole?
Yeah, dude.
Yes, motherfucker. You are setting this kid up for failure to begin with, because now every time they look at the mirror, they're like, man, I should be worrying about how I look and how other people are going to look at me. Her self-confidence is probably shot the down because of your dumbass, bro. And at the end of the day, however, like she turns out in the future, everyone has a different desire. Everyone has their own type. Why are you gonna torture your niece because your standards are a little different than anybody else?
I'll always be your big brother. This was back in college when I was trying out online dating for the first time. I matched with this dude. We had a good conversation and I talked to him on the phone a couple of times. He mentioned that he had just gotten out of an engagement with a girl from his hometown that was very dramatic. She left him for someone else after a lifetime of friendship and the whole town knew about it.
Ooh.
He told me all the details, though I can't remember now. I felt those red flags going up, but back then I didn't heed the warnings like I do now. So we made plans to meet up. We met at the food court in the mall. I could tell right away that there was no chemistry, but we were going to chat for a little while anyway. Then he gets a phone call. I can tell from a little bit of what I can hear that he's talking to his ex about the situation that he had described to me before. His tone got very aggressive. He kept saying things like, quote, "I'm always going to be in your life no matter what. I'm never going to let him hurt you. I will always be your big brother," end quote.
It's Alabama all over again.
Oh, brother. He got up and walked around the food court for like 5 minutes going on like that. And back then, I was simply too much of a people pleaser to just get up and disappear without a trace.
I would be out of there.
I would bail immediately. Ain't no way. As soon as he sat back down, I told him that I didn't think we needed to be friends and I left. He just smiled and told me it was my loss.
I think it's his family's loss. That tree is very straight.